Are you ready to learn from someone who has had a nine-figure exit in the home service world? What's up, blue collar business owner? Welcome back to the Blue Collar Prosperity Podcast. I'm your host, Paul Masca, where we focus on helping guide you to have a prosperous business. Today, we have with us Chris Lee. Chris is the founder and CEO of Next Level Pros, an entrepreneurial accelerator fostering business growth and development for small to large size businesses through education, private equity, and venture capital investments. Chris founded Solgen Power, a vertically integrated solar provider, in his garage in 2017, later exiting to private equity at a nine-figure valuation, all in the short span of 4.5 years. His team was recognized by Financial Times as the sixth fastest growing privately held company in the nation, spanning to 18 different locations and 1,100 plus team members. So that is Chris Lee. Welcome, Chris. Thank you so much for being here. What is going on today?
Excited to be here. Appreciate you having me on, Paul.
Yes, thank you for being here, Chris. Definitely excited to learn more, not only about your journey, but all the things you learned along the way and what you help business owners now do with all of the experience and wisdom you have built over time. So, before 2017, just kind of digging into your journey, what were you doing and how did creating a solar provider company even come to be?
Yeah, you bet. So I come from a background of the home service space. My whole career has been in that space for the last 20 years. So at the age of 21, I began knocking on doors, selling pest control contracts, and this was a way to be able to pay to go to college. And I was studying to be a doctor. Thought that's what I wanted to do with my life. Quickly realized that socialized medicine and going to school for the rest of my life was not what I thought it was cracked up to be. So, quickly pivoted and shifted my career towards more of an entrepreneurial focus. And so, launched my first home service company in 2008, and with the blinders on regarding like what was happening in the economy and everything else. I was just young, dumb, and ambitious. And so, yeah, at the age of 24, I went and raised some investment dollars, and I started a home security and automation installation business. And the vast majority of our product was sold door to door, and we made a lot of mistakes. I was, like I said, young and dumb. I knew how to sell products. And so because of it, I always say that sales is the gateway drug to entrepreneurship. And because of it, I thought I was an entrepreneur, and I thought I knew what I needed to do to go and run a business. And I didn't. I fell flat on my face, tried growing too fast, too quick, did a lot of things driven by ego, and charged the customers too little, paid too much, made a lot of poor strategic decisions, which ultimately led to the demise of that business, paired with the macroeconomic of what was happening in the financial markets and everything else. Ended 2010, ended up filing bankruptcy for 2.2 million, and lost everything. So January 2011, I found myself third child on the way, less than $1,000 in my bank account, car being repoed out of my driveway, and just a square kick to the teeth from entrepreneurship. And finally realized, man, I don't know what I'm doing. And but I did learn a lot from that experience, and immediately launched another business in the same industry because I knew mistakes that I had made. But I found myself for the next couple of years just spinning my wheels and trying, just being a traditional entrepreneur, distracted by everything, trying everything underneath the sun, fixing and flipping, buying stuff at Costco, selling it on eBay in that day, running an SEO business. I owned real estate and livestock, and I had a medical pendant company, and just all these different things, just trying to make a buck, right? And quickly realized I don't know what I'm doing. I'm an idiot. I can figure out how to make a living, but man, I just have no idea how to scale a real business. And so finally swallowed my pride mid 2012. So that was like a 2 year period of just like trying all these different things. And 2012, I had this search engine optimization business running, and it was completely on autopilot. I was bored with life and realized I need to go learn more. And so I swallowed my pride, went back to work for someone else. And I spent the next 4.5 years working for three different businesses with the intention to study what these entrepreneurs were doing to scale. And so while everyone else was there for a paycheck, I was there taking notes. And I was able to learn from some of the greatest entrepreneurs in the home service space. Todd Peterson from Vivint, the CEO that scaled two different billion-dollar publicly traded companies in the home service space. I was able to sit in his room and learn from him and see what was going on and see how to build culture and how to inspire people through vision and growth and make strategic decisions. And it was a great time in my life. I made really good money. I had the best when I finally stepped away from work for someone else. I had the best job. I was making $500,000 a year, unlimited access to a company credit card. I was a vice president of this business, and like just all the great things. But at that point, at the end of 2016, I had learned what I came to learn and knew that it was now time to like go and take everything that I'd studied for the previous few years. And again, I saw so many incredible things. I experienced two different IPOs while working for these three different businesses. I was on Wall Street the day of one of the companies IPOing. Just got to see so many things behind the curtain. I think a lot of times entrepreneurs are afraid to go and work for somebody else and they undervalue the experience that they can get by working for somebody that knows what they're doing. And so that's where I found myself at the end of 2016. And a year prior, I had committed to spending a lot of money on my personal education. And so that was 2015. 2015, I said, every quarter I'm going to go and I'm going to get in a room with somebody that knows way more than me. I'm going to pay for masterminds. I'm going to pay for workshops. I'm going to pay for events. I'm going to pay for coaches. And I'm committed to growing. And so that started in 2015. And so end of 2016 to end of 2017, I kind of was just figuring out what I wanted to apply my next move to. So I did some more extensive study, spent a lot of money on Facebook marketing courses. I chased an international energy project where I was sitting down with prime ministers from different countries. Just did some crazy things for another year before ultimately I said, all right, it's time to go all in on building a fully vertically integrated solar installation company. And that's what we launched in fall of 2017.
That's incredible, Chris. I appreciate you really sharing the details of the journey, being vulnerable and saying, hey, I didn't know everything and I failed and I went to learn from someone else. And it's funny, I was just reading the book Secrets of the Millionaire Mind. I try and read it once a year, once every 2 years. And they talk about that even in that book of if you want to be a baker, own your own bakery, why don't you go work for one of the best bakers to see what it is? How do they do it? What is their schedule? What do they charge? All those things. And you swallowed your pride and did that for 3, 4, 5 years to learn from everybody else to then be able to get to where you are today. And I'm sure there's plenty of people from back then probably wish, they would have did the same thing you did. So now let's go to kind of, picking up in 2017, end of 2017, going into 2018. Said, all right, we're going all in on this vertically integrated solar provider, doing the installation and really scaling this thing super quickly. So how do you do that quick in 4.5 years? Start it, scale it, exit it for a very solid valuation, and then move on to the next thing. How did that come to be?
Yeah, it's a great question. So again, I had spent a lot of money on coaches and spent a lot of my time with coaches, right, from working with these other businesses. And I saw how they were scaling. Like the biggest thing that most people lack is a roadmap with like a big vision, right? Most guys, they figure out, hey, I can sell this product, I can make this profit margin, and so I'm just going to kind of go down this path. And it's more of just like by default rather than by design. And so everything that was done from day one out of my garage was done by design, done on purpose. So we started with a 5-year roadmap. And this is actually something that I teach in Next Level Pros is like always creating and understanding your 5-year roadmap, where it's just like a crystal clear vision of this is what we're going for and this is how we're going to get there. And and because I had worked for these much larger businesses, I thought and dreamt and was very big in my, like most guys when they start out, like, hey man, if I can have $1 million in my bank account, then I'll like that'll be it, right? Or if I can make a few $100,000 a year net, that'll be it. Like I didn't think that way. I wasn't driven by money. I was just like, man, I've got a big goal. So like day one out of my garage, I'm like, okay, in 5 years, we're going to be doing $100 million a year, and we're going to do it with 500 employees. And I had the exact map of like what each of those 500 employees would be doing to contribute to 100 million in revenue. And so I create that, what I call an execution chart. Some people refer to it as an org chart, and had this roadmap. So then when I was sitting down with first recruits, first employees that we were bringing in the position, is like, hey, look, I know we're sitting in a garage, right? Like I get that, but like this is what we're building. This is where we are going over the next 5 years. You're going to come in at this position. As long as you up your talent, up your ability to lead, up your ability to train, you're going to be able to grow within the business. And this is the roadmap for growth. Now, if for whatever reason you don't grow, they're still going to be in a position with you. You'll just maintain at this level where on this map, and we're going to continue to grow either with or without you. And so casting that vision, like I always say, he who has the biggest vision wins the recruiting battle. And like if Elon Musk were to call me up today and say, Chris, I need you to go and lead the next mission to Mars, chances are I'm dropping what I'm doing. Even though I'm a big, like I'm going after something big with Next Level Pros, right? We're going to do 125 billion in our community on an annualized basis over the next 5 years. Like that's my big vision. But Elon Musk is thinking extraterrestrial, dude. Like, I mean, this guy's thinking Mars, bro. Like that vision's bigger than mine. And so if he were to sit down and try to recruit me, chances are I'm dropping everything and I'm going with him. And that's the way I approached the recruiting battle. Going in my garage was just like, dude, I have a big, clear vision. And it's not just big, it's actually clear. You have to, like, people have to understand where they fit in and how they're going to get there, right? Like, it's not just some big, hairy, audacious goal. It's like big, hairy, audacious, and this is the way that we're going to go and execute. And so, like, that was step number one of creating it by design. And then just living by certain principles. Most businesses aren't principled, right? Like they make the decision in the moment. They don't have like their core values or their core mission or vision that they're constantly going back to and basing off of. So like over the years of working with these businesses, I've had an iPhone since 2007. I'm sitting there taking notes and creating principles over the years of like, this is what good business is built off of. And so like whenever it was to make a decision, whether it's strategically or hiring or whatever else, it's like going back to the principles. Like I'll give you an example of like some of the principles I have. One, I don't believe there's such thing as competition. Right. So like there is no competition. The only competition that exists is between you and the pain that your customer is experiencing. Like if you are creating a real business, it is unique. You create a unique service. You could have the same exact product, but it can be a unique service, a unique culture, and a unique way to provide it to the market. And because of that, you have to make decisions that are not in a competitive environment, right? Like you got to make decisions based on what is best for the business, not who is charging the least or how do I fit in against the market. And so because of that, like we were a one of one business. Like we charged more than double than any of the competitors. Like there was the same exact product. We were charging more than double everybody else. We were the most expensive in the marketplace. Why? Because another one of my principles is you never put the customer first, you put the business first. If you put business first and you secure 25% net margin, then you can next take care of your employees. And then if your employees are well taken care of, they will take care of your customer. And ultimately, the best way to serve your customers is in that order, because what I learned from my first business, when I put everybody else before the business goes out of business and I end up screwing everybody else. And so like these are just examples of like principles and like foundational things that I was setting up out of my garage that were absolutely imperative to be able to scale anything.
That's super powerful, and really just kind of hitting on that vision as well. I'm in a mastermind myself, and one of the main founders of the mastermind, his big principle is your vision has to be bigger than anybody's all the other people you're recruiting. It has to be bigger than their vision in order for their vision to fit inside yours. If it's not, and you go to hire someone and they say, I want to be a general manager one day, and you're like, there's probably not going to be an opportunity here. That person's not going to want to come be a service tech or be an apprentice or be a part of your organization because their vision doesn't fit within your vision. So I love casting that big vision and also making it super clear. And then the idea behind, I mean, I do CFO work every single day. The idea of putting the business first so that the business will be there the next time the employees come to work or the customer calls the phone number is so huge. And when you're hitting on, we want to put our employees before our customers, because if we put our employees first, they're going to show up and serve those customers way better because they're actually excited to be at work. They love being a part of the team. They love being recognized and appreciated and all the things that, you guys or any business does in order to take care of their employees. So let's dive into that a little bit. Obviously, what you do at Next Level Pros fits in very well with how you scaled your organization. You've mentioned it many times and alluded to it many times. Personal development is big for you. It's had a massive impact on your life and your success and everyone else around you. How are you able to kind of weave personal development either into your solar business, or how do you weave it into Next Level Pros and the impact that that has on everybody?
So it's interesting. A lot of people work on themselves fully after they're rich, right? And like for me, when I put that stuff first, it always translated in becoming like in yielding great fruit. And so like a couple things first, like for me, the way that I've set my priorities in a personal life has drastically impacted my business. God first, family second, then my business. And like when I put God first, it allows me to treat others in a completely different way. I chose to have a family early on. A lot of entrepreneurs, they go and they make their wealth, then they go and have a family. Man, I was married at 21, having my first child at 22. I have 5 kids. And so like for me, like building a business out of my garage and while maintaining good relationships with my spouse and my kids is like so imperative to be able to be happy. I think, you're not happy because you're successful because you're happy. And so like creating that happiness and joy and just like fulfillment outside of the business has always been so important to me. And I tie that to my success. One of the reasons we built such an incredible culture and organization is because we perpetuated this type of personal development into our employees. And so, one of the things I talk about is like we have to eat our P's daily, our physical, economic, our association, our spirituality. As long as you address and you impact those, it's not a time allocation, it's an impact allocation, right? Like I can be impactful reading scripture for 15 minutes a day or working out rigorously for 15 minutes a day versus being in the gym for 2 hours on my phone, or being impactful in my association, my relationships with my kid. I can have an eye-to-eye conversation, throwing the ball, and like for 10 minutes, that's going to be way more impactful than sitting down and watching TV while I scroll through social media with my kids. And so like being intentional with each of those things in my own life, but also portraying it with the culture that I built on purpose with my people, the amount of buy-in that was like, because people, when they come to work for you, they think they're coming for a paycheck or they're coming for opportunity. When they realize that you're going to help them be a full, better human, right? A better father, a better mother, a better contributor to society, like more in tune with their spiritual side, lose weight, take care of their eating habits, be disciplined at the kitchen table, like all of a sudden, like you are way more than a paycheck to them. You are their life. You are their reason for being. And they found like their fit in life. And so, like the amount of stories that have been created through my organizations of people losing 100+ pounds or, returning back to God or getting married and finally settling down and focusing on having a family or investing outside, like teaching them how to properly use their paycheck and become independently wealthy, making only $60,000 a year, right? Like that, those stories, that was like the focus is and on my personal life and my culture. And like, again, when you want to talk about buy-in, when you want to talk about like people bleeding for a cause, you focus on that. Like I said, you're going to be bought in because you're like, you feel good, you play good, you're showing up every single day, right? When I wake up at 5:30 in the morning and show discipline in the gym, I'm going to be disciplined to make that one more phone call or have that hard conversation with the employee that I need to fire or do this, that, and the other because I showed up, because I was disciplined. It's impossible to live one way, right? Like I'm a big believer of how you do anything is how you do everything. And if I see a fat rich guy, chances are he's cheating to get there.
Oh man, I love it. So a big thing you mentioned many times, and obviously building that culture of helping everybody within the organization and getting them to take care of themselves so they can be better at work, better husbands, better fathers, better wives, all that kind of stuff. How do you like? What are some like tactical things that you implemented in your organizations to build a better culture? Like, what are some of the biggest levers our listeners can pull and be like, wow, that works when we actually go all in with it 100%.
Yeah, so culture is more than just like a mission statement on the wall and core values that are listed in Dusty somewhere, right? Like, so one is like the way you create culture by design is one, you got to have, so like this is what we call our culture pillar, right? The way you create the culture pillar is one, you have to have that 5-year roadmap. We call it the next level plan, where like literally people see where they fit in the organization and what their advancement opportunities are, right? Like that's culture, right? The second thing is like they have to clearly know what you're building. Why is it what we do? That's your mission. Vision is where are we going? Like what? So when I talk about like 100 million, 500 employees 5 years from now, it's a clear vision of like this is where we're building and we're going to be the gold standard of solar, right? Like okay, that's what we're currently building. How are we and then why do we do or how do we do it? We do it with our core values. And so then your core values, which should be anywhere from 3 to 7, this is how you hire and fire and promote and recognize, right? Is based off of do people live your core values? And so creating a recognition program. So a couple things is like, again, it's not just a poster on the wall, it's a wristband on your wrist. Like, I mean, if you notice, I have a wristband on my wrist. I always have a wristband. What is my wristband? My wristband is always has like a couple core things, right? This has my mission, designing lives that impact the world. That is the mission of Next Level Pros. Okay. Then we have our 5-year vision, which is Impact 125. That's to do 125 billion through our community on an annualized basis 5 years from now. So this is like always apparent, always in front of me, constant reminder. We're talking about it. It's a part of every meeting. When this as the CEO on a Friday, I get on and I write an email and I say, hey, just want to recognize somebody for living this core value, right? So like one of our core values at Next Level is excellence. So we have networking, excellence, experience, and trust. Those are our 4 core values. And I'm going to recognize people based off of those. And so, okay, excellence for us is not what you did or what you're doing. It's the next 5 minutes, right? So it's like, what am I doing now? I don't care what your resume says. I don't care what you plan on doing. Like, what did you do this week? And so like recognizing somebody like, hey, I just want to give a quick shout out to Bob. He was great in showing excellence. He showed up in this way. He didn't need to do this, but he went and he helped somebody with their job that wasn't even a part of his line item or of his responsibilities. He showed up in this way. This is an example of us living an excellent, being core, or living this core value. So like that's a way that you recognize. And then on top of that, like performance reviews are done in 2 different ways, right? Like the performance review is what we call the impact metrics, or some people call KPIs, right? Okay, like what are the 3 or 4 metrics that are attached to your job responsibility? Are you doing them? Okay, so great, you're performing in that. Now let's look at the right person fit. So we have the right seat, which means you're doing the job. The right person on the bus is, are you living the core values? And certain core values can never be negatively, like it can be like, so you have always, sometimes, and never, right? The goal is to get everyone to always where they're living the core values. sometimes is sometimes acceptable, but never is never acceptable. And so when somebody is not living the core values, we actually address it and we put them on a performance improvement plan that they have to change their attitude and change their actions that are in alignment with the core. They could be the most performing. They could be the top salesperson. They could be the top technician doing the best work in the company and complete sour apples over here, not showing up, not valuing the relationships of others, just in it for themselves, and they can be on a performance improvement plan. And if they don't turn it around, we're letting them go because they're not the right person. Even though they could be in the right seat, they're just not for our organization. So like that's practical advice of like how we run like the cultural aspect. But then there's so many other cultural things like the way that you recognize, the way that you compete, the way that you have hard conversations. Like if something needs to be talked about, we talk about it immediately. We don't put it off. We don't ignore it. We have the hard conversation in the moment that it comes up. We communicate. That's a very strong part of a strong culture. There's just like there's so many aspects here of like and doing. I mean, man, I could go on and on and on about like building trust and the way that you restore trust and everything else. But like there is real tactical ways in building culture. In fact, I have like a full guide that's like step by step how you build a winning culture. Because truly, I believe, and I always preach to my organization, like, look, our strategy could change. Like tomorrow, like we could be, instead of being a coaching service for the home service space, we could be just a window company. That's a strategy change, but our culture is what we're building. And so like day one from my garage, I would just tell them, I'm like, hey, right now the strategy is solar and this is what our vision is for solar. But guess what? We are building a culture. We are here to provide value, to be bigger contributors to our society, to doing our job, to having the hard conversations, to accepting strengths and weaknesses, being vulnerable about your weaknesses so somebody can balance them out. Like, I mean, there's so many different aspects when you're talking about building culture.
No, but I love it. And everybody out there listening, like go rewind and listen to the last 5 or 10 minutes. There's a ton of tactical like things you can actually go implement today. The key is obviously then you have to believe in it. You have to execute it on a regular basis. You can't just go do it once and hope it sticks. One probably final question on is that as we start to wrap up, you mentioned you're super transparent of like, this is where we're going. This is how much revenue we're doing. This is how many people are going to work here. I know there's people in the trades that have massive egos and trust issues, and they don't ever want to like be transparent at all with their team of like how much money we're actually doing, because they might think I'm the rich guy cashing all the checks. What do you tell those people when they're afraid to tell their team, we're going to do $50 million in 5 years?
So this is one of my favorite subjects, right? Like we live in 2025, home of ChatGPT, YouTube, massive information. If you treat your employees like they're stupid, they will leave you. Okay. Like employees aren't stupid, right? Like they may do stupid things, but they are not stupid. So I treat my employees like big boys and girls, and they know exactly how much money we're making, not on a revenue basis, but they know exactly how much we're profiting. Like employees top to bottom. I know that sounds crazy. I know that sounds like, and I know it sounds like, oh man, I'm just going to have to pay them so much more. No, they have to understand, going back to my core principle of taking care of the company first, right? Like when you go and you say, listen, you guys aren't my priority, the company is. The company is priority number one. You guys are priority number two, and our customers are priority three. Chris, oh, that's like, no, this is it. These are the real blatant, transparent conversations you have with your people. And as long as they understand the why, they can't just start with that. You can't just be like, company first, you second, employees or customers third, bye, right? Like it's why. Why is it? Because listen, if I don't make 25% net, I will not have the ability to reinvest and help this thing grow. We are going to grow and scale, and there's going to be an incredible opportunity. The only way I do that is by maintaining 25% net margins, 55 to 60% gross profit margins. And I need you to understand how valuable every single dollar is to is to the bottom line. And this is what we're going to do. We're going to stay in business. We're going to show up every time our customers call. We're going to be the world dominator in this particular industry. Everybody's going to know us. And because of it, you're going to get incredible opportunity. And one of the, I think the secret sauces to getting that real buy-in is having a true equity plan for people that advance into management. Like when I sold my business for 180 million, 11 other people were made multimillionaires on that day of that transaction. And so like getting the and showing people like you can get here. This is the vision. If you level up, you could be. If you don't want to, that's fine. You can stay in this technician role and continue to service and do this thing. And we're going to provide you a great opportunity, and we're going to pay you well, and we're going to take care of we're going to teach you how to invest. We're going to teach you how to take care of your body, and we're going to teach you all these things. But for those that advance, there's going to be a way to participate in this long term. And so now you get people bought into like, man, we need to make this profit. Like, I don't care what Chris, like, as long as I continue to fulfill on what I'm saying, like, hey, we're going to grow, we're going to develop, there's going to be opportunity, there's going to be all these great things, then you're going to be fine. The second you're not consistent, the second you go against your word, then you're going to lose trust. Then you're going to have people counting their dollars and stealing from you and everything else because Chris is not doing what he said he was going to do. So, one, do what you say you're going to do, cast a big vision, be transparent, treat people like big boys and girls, help them understand, because when people understand the levers to pull and what it looks like to be successful, they're going to be so much more bought in, and they will do it regardless if it's their dollars or not.
Amazing, Chris. Love it. And it's, as you're talking, I was just thinking of like, if you think about like publicly traded companies that are, profiting billions and billions of dollars, everybody wants to go work for the Apples or the Teslas or the space. Like people want to go work for there because of that. But like sometimes we as small business owners get in our mind of like, well, we can't actually make any money. But all of these really top end talents, they want to go for work for the big companies that are doing all this because there's a bigger opportunity, bigger vision, and all that kind of stuff. So phenomenal insight, advice, wisdom, all of that in the last 30 to 40 minutes. As we start to wrap this up, Chris, we want our listeners to take immediate action after they listen to this conversation. What is one thing, just one simple thing that they could do within the next 24 hours to move their business even 1% forward?
I love it. So first of all, can I share with listeners my phone number to shoot me a text if they have any questions?
Of course, fire away.
All right. So if you're listening right now, you hung with us. Thank you. Appreciate you staying with us this long. You can text me directly at 509-509-1935. That's 509-509-1935. Text me directly if you have any additional questions. So the one tactical thing to be able to go and really move the needle is this. $1 to you means so much more than $1 to your customer. And let me explain. Most of us, the easiest lever that we can pull in our business is increasing our prices. Many of us are not willing to because it's like, oh, the customer is going to revolt, or the employees are going to revolt, the sales guys are going to like it. Bullcrap. Like, and so what example I want to share with you real quick is, say you have $100 product, okay, and you are netting at the end of the day, like say you're only selling one product a month and you're netting $10 at the end of the day, by increasing your price by $1, okay, your customer sees an increase in price by 1%. And if your net margin, and you don't do anything to improve the process or anything else, you just take that dollar purely to the bottom line, your net income just increased by 10%. It is worth 10 times more to you than it is to your customer. Now, that's not what I advocate for. What I advocate for is like, look, if you have $100 product, raise it $10, raise it 10% to your customer, take $2 of those dollars, apply it to the experience, improve the offer, improve the product. Now you just increased your bottom line by 80%, increase the experience for your customer, and all they paid was an additional 10%. So like, if you want tactical advice, go and figure out how to raise your prices. It exists more between your ears than it does actually exist in reality. And I promise you, it'll be a game changer for you and your business.
Love it. That is a phenomenal example, especially me working with numbers every day. The customer, the difference between $100, $110 to them doesn't mean anything, especially like you said, if the experience is phenomenal, the price is irrelevant, and it'll make sure that you hit your 18 to 20% net profit, just like doing that. So Chris Lee, thank you so much for coming on the show, sharing your journey, and providing a ton of actionable advice, wisdom, and guidance for all the blue collar business owners out there as we continue on this journey to prosperity. Before we sign off, other than texting you at 509-509-1935, is there any other place you want to send them or just have them text you
Yeah, you
and go
go
from
ahead and
there?
follow me on Instagram at Chris Lee QB, like quarterback at Chris Lee QB. That's on all social media profiles. I'm most active on Instagram, but would happy, and if you DM me, I will respond as long as it's not spammy.
There you go. Chris Lee, QB, or 509-509-1935. Reach out to him. He's as real as it gets and he will respond. Chris, thank you so much for your time today. Really appreciate it.
Appreciate it.